Hey everyone, welcome into the Thinking Crypto podcast, your home for cryptocurrency news and interviews. I'm your host, Tony Edward. On your way in, please hit that subscribe button as well as the thumbs up button and leave a comment below. If you're listening on a podcast platform such as Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts, please be sure to follow and leave a 5-star rating. Okay, folks, it was a big news day for crypto. Lots of incredible statements coming from folks of notoriety. So first up, United States Indo-Pacific Commander Admiral Samuel Paparo advises the Senate that Bitcoin shows incredible potential as a computer science tool. Here's a quote. Bitcoin is a reality. It is a valuable computer science tool as a power projection.
To another subject, our competition with China isn't just about military strength. It also includes monetary strength as well. Last year, the Chinese Communist Party's main monetary think tank published research on Bitcoin as a strategic asset. This came after President Trump moved to establish a strategic Bitcoin reserve. Admiral, how does leadership in Bitcoin impact leverage resilience, deterrence for Indo-PACOM against China? And do you think that a strategic Bitcoin reserve helps America compete against China?
Senator, our research into Bitcoin is as a computer science tool. It's the combination of cryptography, a blockchain, and a proof of work. And Bitcoin shows incredible potential as a computer science tool that through the proof of work protocols it actually imposes more cost than just the algorithmic securing of networks and our ability to operate. And Bitcoin is a reality. It is a valuable computer science tool as a power projection. And outside of the economic formulation of it, it has got really important computer science applications for cybersecurity.
Thank you. What recommendations do you have for us here in Congress on how the U.S. can lead on Bitcoin competition?
I have to go deeper on that with you for the record, and I can go deeper on that case. But Bitcoin is a reality. It is a peer-to-peer, zero trust transfer of value. Anything that supports all instruments of national power for the United States of America is to the good.
Thank you. I'll have to go back and listen to that answer to kind of decipher it. Most of us entered, you're way over our head.
These are incredible statements from an admiral. This is not hearsay. This is straight from the horse's mouth in front of the United States Senate. So these statements carry a lot of weight. Now, I recently interviewed the White House crypto advisor, Patrick Witt. Many of you may have seen that interview. And he talked about the strategic Bitcoin reserve, that we are weeks away from a major update there. So could this be the start of the conversation or the narrative leading up to that big announcement? Because I do believe there's a geopolitical battle for control of crypto, Bitcoin, and blockchain technology happening between the United States, China, and other world superpowers. And we know the United States is looking to establish the digital asset stockpile, the Bitcoin reserve, obviously get the Clarity Act passed. We've got the Genius Act already passed. So the United States is trying to get into that driver's seat and take full control. And President Trump, of course, is fully on board, and he's made his statements many times. Scott Bessent as well. A lot of folks within the administration have came out and said, we're looking to be the leader here. So huge statements. And we could see, again, this narrative carry over to getting that strategic Bitcoin reserve fully established, where it's not just the Bitcoin we've confiscated, the United States government that is, that's in the stockpile, but how can they buy over time and in a revenue neutral way? So very, very interesting and huge statements from the Admiral here. Now, even more big statements about crypto. Kevin Warsh, who's Trump's Fed chair nominee, he said today that crypto is now part of the U.S. financial system. Huge statements coming from the incoming Fed chair. Look, we know he's going through the confirmation, and I think he's going to get in. He's going to replace Jerome Powell, of course. So these are huge statements. And most recently, he disclosed that he's invested in crypto along with other assets. So he gets it, he's invested in it, and he sees digital assets as part of the financial system. Let me play the clip for you. Senator Cynthia Lummis asks him a question and he responds.
I believe that digital assets should be incorporated into our financial industry so Americans have new investment opportunities and consumer protections.
Senator, digital assets are already part of the fabric of our financial services industry in the United States. Yes.
So notice he said it's part of the fabric of the United States financial system. Huge statement. I couldn't imagine a Fed chair saying something like this, when I got into crypto. So it's amazing how things have changed. And look, we've talked a lot about it over the years. I've said many times, the future capital markets, economies, and governments will all run on blockchain rails. And I'm not just talking about the United States, it's global, right? We are seeing the blockchain rails being set up across the globe for institutions, banks, stock exchange, in the move to go 24/7, have truly liquid markets, instant settlement, and a truly global reach. So that is the end goal. That's where the puck is heading. So huge statements here from the incoming Fed chair. Now, Kevin Warsh also talked about CBDCs. He committed to Senator Bernie Moreno that he won't have the Fed move forward or move towards a CBDC, a central bank digital currency, if he's confirmed, and it's within his power as chairman to do so. He also said he agrees that the Fed does not have the right to issue a CBDC, and it would be a bad policy choice. Now, guys, I was born at night, but I wasn't born last night. And we need the actual law put into place because people can change their minds. I'm not going to take any public official's word as gospel. I need to see the actions. So the Anti-CBDC Act has not passed as yet. It was supposed to be in the defense spending bill. It did not make it through, and there are efforts to try to get it passed this year, but I think all efforts have been on the Clarity Act, rightfully so, to get that situation resolved, and then I think they're going to try to push the CBDC or the anti-CBDC bill through this year. But we got to make sure we stay on top of that because I don't care what politicians say. Politicians lie. I'm not saying Kevin Warsh is lying. I'm just saying as a rule of thumb, right? We know how the politics game is played, how it operates. So if you don't know, this is your wake-up call. You need to keep politicians accountable. They work for us, we the people. So this is where I like what Kevin Warsh is saying, but get that anti-CBDC Act passed or it's all just smoke and mirrors. Now, speaking of legislation, this morning, Representative Young Kim and Representative Sam Liccardo unveiled the Bipartisan PACE Act to create a national payments license for fintechs and crypto companies. The bipartisan bill would let regulated state depository institutions and credit unions that conduct money transmission be regulated under a new optional framework overseen by the OCC. The bill would permit these institutions to access Federal Reserve payment services, aligning with the Federal Reserve Governor Christopher Waller's skinny master accounts concept, which Kraken gained access to earlier this year. Kraken, the crypto exchange, of course. The bill also gives the Federal Reserve Board and not the individual reserve banks final decision-making authority over skinny master account applications. So you're seeing the decentralization of the Fed master account here going to crypto companies and smaller fintech companies as well, which is great. It takes a lot of power away from these bigger banks. And these bigger banks don't like that. But look, disruption's here. This technology is here. It's not going away. And there's a big change happening. So pretty incredible. And this will certainly change the whole mechanism of how these skinny master accounts are regulated with the states and the Fed and much more. So very interesting things happening. Folks, quick word from our sponsor.
This episode is brought to you by BitGo, the trusted infrastructure behind the digital asset economy. If you're serious about crypto, whether you're an investor, institution, or building in this space, you already know security, compliance, and execution are everything. And that's exactly what BitGo delivers. With over a decade of experience and 5,500 plus institutional clients across 100 plus countries, BitGo provides a full suite of services, including qualified custody, trading, staking, financing, and stablecoin infrastructure, all in one platform. Let's break it down. Want to launch crypto services fast? BitGo's crypto as a service lets banks, fintechs, and platforms go live in as little as a couple of months without dealing with complex licensing or infrastructure. If you're looking to launch a stablecoin, BitGo offers a complete stablecoin as a service platform from reserves and smart contracts to compliance, built to align with the new US regulatory framework that is the Genius Act. Want to earn rewards on your crypto? BitGo runs one of the largest institutional staking platforms with tens of billions staked across 50 plus networks, all while your assets stay securely in qualified custody. Need deep liquidity and execution? Their trading platform aggregates liquidity across 30 plus venues, giving you better pricing and the ability to trade directly from custody. No pre-funding required for approved clients. And if you need capital, BitGo offers crypto-backed financing, so you can unlock liquidity without selling your assets. So here's the bottom line. BitGo is one of the first federally chartered digital asset infrastructure companies offering regulated, insured custody and a platform built for institutions, but accessible to forward-thinking players across the space. So whether you're scaling a fintech, managing a fund, or building the future of finance, BitGo gives you all the tools that you need to do this securely, compliantly, and at scale. So learn more at bitgo.com and see why the biggest players in crypto trust BitGo.
Okay, moving ahead, today SoFi Bank announced they are adding support for XRP. This follows their listing of Bitcoin, ETH, and Solana. I've often stated it starts with Bitcoin and they will go down the list, right? It happened with ETFs. It's happening with the listing or a spot trading that's integrated on these banks and different traditional financial companies. So it's incredible. SoFi Bank offering crypto, and they've also launched their own stablecoin. So guys, I hope you see what's happening here. And again, the on-ramps being set up by these big institutions, and it's happening globally. So when we enter into the next bull cycle and we get crypto legislation passed, what do you think is going to happen? I think it's a super cycle. I think we're going to see a very powerful bull market, huge bull runs. And it's not going to be just a one-time thing. I think it continues, right? If you look at how the internet itself had many bull runs, right? And different phases of the technology, Web 1, Web 2, and so on and so forth. So very, very cool. Now, speaking of XRP, Ripple unveils a multi-phase roadmap to make the XRP ledger quantum resistant by 2028. This includes a quantum day contingency plan and collaboration with Project 11 for early testing. So all blockchains are going to be doing this. This is why I've been saying the quantum headlines and FUD is just FUD, right? Quantum tech is not at a level where it can take down blockchains yet, but it will get there. I'm not saying it won't ever. I'm just saying at the point where we're at right now, it's just a narrative by many short sellers to push the price of crypto down because they're shorting. Because notice at $126,000, what was it, like 5 months before? Right? Nothing about quantum. Then the price goes down, all of a sudden quantum, this, that, right? I hope you understand how the game is played here. So narrative follows price. And there will be a day where these blockchain technologies and companies, they will have to be quantum ready. And it's great to see Ripple do that with the XRP ledger, but they're not the only ones. Bitcoin miners will have to do that. The Ethereum, Solana folks, everybody's going to have to do that. And even Coinbase, they announced their advisory board says quantum computing threat is on the horizon. Crypto needs to plan. So the 50-page paper includes that while today's blockchains remain secure, a future fault-tolerant quantum computer capable of breaking widely used encryption is increasingly plausible, and preparation must begin now. So I believe, again, all blockchain folks will update their nodes, their miners, and whatever mechanism they're using to be quantum resistant. Now, if quantum is going to be a risk to blockchain, guys, we're going to have bigger problems because that means they will be able to take down the financial system, the traditional financial system, the air traffic control system, the energy, electricity system, right? Those will be at bigger risk. So don't get too caught up in the hype of, oh my God, quantum computing, it's going to destroy crypto. Man, if it can destroy crypto with these blockchains that are using cryptography and incredibly secure mechanisms and protocols, what do you think it's going to do to our world and our civilization? So as long as these folks upgrade their technology and use the same quantum tech, right, to run to power their servers and their networks and so forth, they'll be fine. So just make sure you have a balanced outlook on this. But it's great to see blockchain projects, exchanges, and much more are prepping for this. Now, on the news of Coinbase, Nium, N-I-U-M, taps Coinbase to add USDC into global payments network. So Singapore fintech Nium has selected Coinbase to integrate USDC payments into its global network to send, receive, and convert stablecoins to fiat across more than 190 countries through a single platform. According to a Tuesday announcement, the integration uses Coinbase's infrastructure for custody, liquidity, and wallet services, enabling Nium's customers to fund cross-border payments in USDC and settle in either stablecoins or local currencies. So two major takeaways. One, Coinbase doing an amazing job with their services. They're getting partnerships and all types of deals across the globe. Second, fintech companies, banks, and much more integrating stablecoins, right? And blockchain tech and crypto. It's amazing to see this type of adoption from these startups and even the folks who've been around for a long time, the legacy incumbents, right? They all are getting on board. Okay, final news item, Polymarket to launch 24/7 perpetual futures trading for crypto, equities, and commodities. So the prediction markets here getting involved in crypto, there's going to be some cannibalization here. We'll see how it all works out. Don't get me wrong, competition is healthy for the market. It's good to have competitors because that's very good for the consumer and us as investors. But, in this race, there's going to be a lot of saturation here, and eventually there's going to need to be consolidation. But incredible to see the race of innovation and building. I love it. I love it, guys. And I keep saying, I hope you're seeing the bigger picture, the infrastructure on ramps being set up here for more capital, more adoption, and that's going to lead to higher prices. I know many of you are going to look at the charts in CoinMarketCap and say, Tony, are you nuts? Look at the price, right? Markets move in cycles. So make sure you have that macro long-term view and you are being patient. You're looking at what's being built. Obviously, you want to be smart with your entries. You don't buy pumps on the tops of the markets. You want to buy when there's blood on the streets, when there's fear, to give yourself a better chance of making an incredible return. So folks, that's the news. Let me know what you think. Leave your thoughts and comments below. Hit the thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't as yet. Be sure to support the podcast by subscribing to my free email newsletter. It's 100% free. Link will be in the description. Be sure to grab a copy of my book on Amazon. It's available in paperback and digital. And check out my course at mycryptocourse.com. Knowledge is power. Expand your knowledge about crypto and blockchain technology. This course is a comprehensive course that teaches you everything you need to know. And folks, we got a huge bear market sale going on. You can get 50% off the price of the course by using the code BEAR, B-E-A-R, at checkout. So use the code BEAR at checkout to get that huge discount. Go to mycryptocourse.com. Folks, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate you all, and I'll talk to you all later.